Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a theory that I have concerning the double slit experiment, which is really a great mystery to most scientists. They haven't really been able to explain it, and they haven't been able to explain a lot of things concerning the matter, the invisible matter that makes up the universe, dark matter, dark energy, whatever you want to call it. Here's my theory. This may sound very basic. I'm going to explain it, but I believe Einstein said the best theories are such that you should be able to explain them to a child. Those really are the most elegant and simple theories. Should be easily explainable. I agree. Anyway, my theory, if you've ever seen the game Wheel of Fortune, there's a game called Plinko where you basically have a lot of rods that they're on a plywood, and these are representing rods that are sticking out. Look up Plinko on the internet, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm just showing you a one-dimensional representation. That I just want to make this point. Okay, so the double slit experiment, you get a wave pattern, which is, as you go further out, the areas where the light particles hit tend to feather out. They become less and less. I believe that this is an explanation for it. When you shoot light this way, logically, most of the particles are going to go in these two columns here. So you're going to get a lot of the particles hitting here on this background. Of course, some of them will bounce off these rods and make their way to some of these other squares here. But eventually they'll get less and less, just the law of averages, right? Probability is that most of them are going to land here. And then, but some of them, like I said, will bounce around and they'll land here. Okay, that means that the light is traveling through a matrix of sorts, a construction of, the only way I can describe it is cubes. A matrix of something that we cannot see, but that is there and that really rules our everyday lives. Not just the path that light takes, but let me give you an example. Fish swim in water, correct? They don't know that they are swimming in water. They only see, it's invisible to them. They're swimming in the water matrix, in the water molecules that are very neatly organized, like all atoms are, water atoms, H2O. But to them, they're flying. They don't know that they're living and swimming through this water, this matrix. Same thing with the planet, same thing with people. This is my theory, that we live in a matrix that's invisible to us. We can walk through it, but it can be deformed, it can be changed. I did an experiment with a laser beam. Let me explain to you what I did. If you shoot the light head on this way, of course you're going to get this pattern. Suppose you put a mirror here and you shot a light source there in the mirror. It's going to go this way, right? The light's going to bounce off this way. It's going to start hitting these rods and it'll swim around in there and it'll create a similar pattern, but it will ignore this other half almost entirely, because it's very unlikely that they're going to come all the way over here, the light particles. So they're going to sort of form a similar pattern, but just one side. It's going to get dark here. It's going to feather out this way, but this way it's not going to. It's going to be empty. I conducted an experiment using a laser beam and a mirror to prove this, and I actually set it up over here. Please forgive the mess. in my home. I have my daughter's bedroom here, and she has a mirror, you know, on her door. So what I did is I hooked up on a tripod, I hooked up a laser beam. There it is. You can see it's reflecting off of the mirror, and it's hitting that door right there. And let me do a close-up on the door. Look at that. 1/2 of the wave pattern. Nothing on the right hand side over here. Let me turn off the light so you can get a better look at it. Look at that. And it's all from the laser beam reflecting off a mirror at an angle. See that? Now, come on. I think that's proof of my theory that we are living in a cube-like field or matrix, whatever the heck you want to call it. And that's what you see here during the double slit experiment. We're actually seeing these gaps here are the areas that are clear, that don't have an obstruction. That's what we're looking at here in these gaps. There's no obstruction. There's no obstruction here. So actually I should have put this right here in the middle. But you get the point. We are living in a matrix of sorts. It's invisible to us, but it has this structure. They're cubes. They're connected to each other. They're connected to everything. I just proved it. The light hits the mirror. This is a mirror. It bounces back, and just like in a game of Plinko, you would not expect the light particles to go this way. They would be concentrated from this point on over here, as I've proven in the experiment. So you would get something like this: dark, the lighter, 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 lighter. But this area would be devoid right here to the right. It's not likely that these photons would go this way, these light particles. And they are particles. They behave as particles because they are particles. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. And I think this really is not such a great mystery. I think the only thing we have to do is learn to detect and measure, and eventually I think we can manipulate and utilize this matrix that we're living in, this, whatever you want to call it, a field. But I firmly believe that it is in the form of cubes, stacked one on top of the other. Remember, nature, everything is perfect. If you look at a crystal structure, that happens all on its own, or chemistry, or just anything in the natural world, it all has structure and symmetry and geometry. So this is no different. We're living in a matrix of perfect cubes, and everything reacts accordingly to this structure. Of course, this is, like I said, a one-dimensional representation, but you can easily imagine a three-dimensional, like a Rubik's cube, cubes on top of the other, to the left, to the right, just surrounding cubes, pretty much the entire length and breadth of the universe. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks.